The quantum drive of the UNSS Curiosity trembled like a living thing, its experimental navigation system pushing the boundaries of human understanding. Chief Navigator Jack Rodriguez gripped the control panel, his dark eyes narrowed in concentration. Sweat beaded on his forehead, not from fear, but from the pure excitement of navigating the unknown. "Spatial coordinates are fragmenting," announced Area Kim, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The young engineer's voice carried a hint of wonder rather than concern. Around her, the ship's bridge hummed with an electric tension that spoke of discovery, not danger. It happened in an instant, a microscopic fluctuation in the quantum field, a momentary tear in the fabric of space-time that no conventional navigation system could have predicted. The Curiosity lurched, its hull groaning under stresses that defied known physical laws. Captain Zura Chen stood rock-solid, her posture a testament to years of training and an unshakable belief in human potential. "Report," she commanded, her voice cutting through the chaos like a laser. Lieutenant Marcus Wong's hands moved with surgical precision, pulling up holographic displays that seemed to materialize from thin air. "Quantum entanglement breach," he said, his voice clinical. "We're somewhere we shouldn't be." The ship's external sensors erupted in a symphony of warning signals. Massive structures loomed in the darkness, geometric shapes that defied conventional understanding. They weren't natural formations. They weren't random. They were deliberately constructed, impossibly ancient, and utterly alien. Aria's console sparked with sudden energy. "Captain," she called out, her voice a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "We've just crossed into a region that doesn't exist on any known galactic map." The first transmission came as a shock, a burst of complex mathematical language encrypted in a way that would make most navigation teams pause. But the Curiosity's crew was anything but ordinary. "Unidentified vessel, you are in the most heavily guarded sector of known space. Prepare for immediate termination." The words hung in the air, a death sentence delivered with cold precision. Most ships would have powered down. Most crews would have surrendered. The Curiosity did neither. Aria's fingers flew across her console. She wasn't just reading the transmission. She was analyzing it, breaking it down at a fundamental level. Mathematics was a universal language, and she was about to have a conversation. A burst of equations erupted from the ship's communication array. Complex, beautiful, impossible. It was a response that was simultaneously a challenge, a greeting, and a scientific dissertation. The alien communication network stuttered. Captain Chen allowed herself the briefest of smiles. "Buy us some time," she told Aria, her voice calm and controlled. Jack Rodriguez checked the ship's systems. Quantum drive was unstable but functional. Navigation was, well, unpredictable was a kind description. They were lost, but not defeated. "Marcus," the captain called, "start mapping whatever we can. We might be in restricted space, but we're going to learn everything we can before they decide what to do with us." Outside the ship's viewports, the alien structures continued their silent watch, massive geometric forms that spoke of technologies beyond human comprehension. But where other species saw a forbidden zone, the crew of the UNSS Curiosity saw the greatest scientific expedition in human history. They had entered restricted space, and they were just getting started. The Galactic Concordance's diplomatic vessel materialized like a nightmare made of living crystal. Its hull shifted and breathed, a biomechanical marvel that represented thousands of years of advanced technological evolution. Compared to this behemoth, the UNSS Curiosity looked like a child's prototype, small, angular, almost primitive. Lieutenant Marcus Wong leaned forward, his augmented neural interface humming with activity. Scanning communication protocols, he muttered, fingers dancing across holographic displays that seemed to pulse with living light. Their communication network is complex, multilayered, designed to be impenetrable. Most species would have seen an impossible challenge. Marcus saw a puzzle waiting to be solved. Captain Zura Chen studied the massive alien vessel with a calculating gaze, Her reputation preceded her, a diplomatic strategist who had navigated some of the most challenging first contact scenarios in human exploration history. Where others saw threat, she saw opportunity. The first official communication arrived, a transmission so densely encoded it would take conventional systems years to decode. It was an ultimatum wrapped in a legal document, a threat disguised as bureaucratic procedure. Unregistered vessel UNSS Curiosity. The transmission began. You have breached multiple galactic statutes. Immediate surrender is required. Failure to comply will result in complete systemic shutdown of all vessel functions. The bridge of the Curiosity went silent. Most crews would have been paralyzed with fear. This crew was anything but most crews. Marcus, Captain Chen called softly. Break it down. Lieutenant Wang's eyes gleamed. What happened next was less a decoding and more an act of linguistic and technological gymnastics. His neural interface interfaced with the ship's quantum processors, creating a decryption method that was part mathematics, part intuition, and entirely human. Lines of code began to dance across the screens. Where the concordance saw an impenetrable fortress of communication, Marcus saw a language, complex, but not unbreakable. Each layer of encryption became a challenge, each firewall a challenge to be overcome. Arya Kim joined the effort, her expertise in quantum computing complementing Marcus's approach. Together, they began to map the communication network with a speed and creativity that would have been impossible for any other species. They're trying to isolate our communication systems, Arya observed, her voice calm. Classic containment protocol. But they're assuming we follow standard technological paradigms. A smile played on Captain Chen's lips. We don't. The Curiosity's communication array began to pulse, not with a standard response, but with a complex mathematical proposition. It was simultaneously a diplomatic greeting, a scientific inquiry, and a demonstration of technological capability. The Concordance's communication network stuttered. Jack Rodriguez monitored the ship's systems, ready to execute emergency maneuvers at a moment's notice. But this wasn't going to be a battle of weapons. This was going to be a battle of intelligence, of creativity, of human potential. Transmission complete, Marcus announced. They're processing. The alien vessel hung in space, its crystalline structure momentarily still. For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Concordance found itself facing a species that didn't just challenge their protocols, they rewrote them entirely. Captain Chen watched the alien vessel, her posture relaxed but alert. Let's see how they respond to an invitation to collaborate, she murmured. The universe held its breath. The restricted zone unfolded like a cosmic museum, silent and impossibly ancient. Massive structures drifted in the darkness, geometric forms that defied conventional understanding of engineering, architecture, and physics. Each fragment told a story of a civilization lost to time, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her neural link scanning equipment, her breath catching in her throat. The science team of the UNSS Curiosity had become something more than researchers. They were explorers standing at the precipice of the greatest scientific discovery in human history. These aren't just structures, she murmured, her fingers tracing holographic data streams that materialized around her workstation. They're a language, the complete technological dialect we've never seen before. The ship's main screen burst into life, displaying complex geometric patterns that seemed to shift and breathe. Quantum sensors picked up energy signatures that defied current scientific understanding. Power sources that existed in multiple states simultaneously, technological concepts that existed between theory and reality. Arya Kim moved between stations, her engineering background allowing her to see connections others might miss. The energy distribution here is nonlinear, she called out, bringing up a series of intricate diagrams. It's not just a power system. It's more like a living network. Lieutenant Marcus Wong began correlating the data, his neural interface working overtime. Mathematical models started to take shape, not just representations of the structures, but potential operational parameters that no previous expedition had even conceived. "We're looking at a technological ecosystem," Marcus explained, his voice a mixture of scientific excitement and pure wonder. "These structures aren't just built. They're grown. Engineered at a molecular level we can barely comprehend." Captain Zora Chen watched her team work, pride evident in her eyes. Most crews would be overwhelmed. Her team saw an opportunity. Dr. Rodriguez discovered the first breakthrough. A dormant energy system nestled within one of the massive structures. A power source that could potentially generate energy equivalent to multiple star systems. But it wasn't just about power. The system appeared to be a complex information storage network, its data preservation methods millennia beyond current human technology. "It's like finding a library," she explained to the captain. "But instead of books, each fragment is a complete civilization's worth of knowledge." Jack Rodriguez, the ship's navigation specialist, began mapping the structures. What seemed random to alien sensors became an intricate pattern under human analysis. Each movement of the Curiosity was calculated, each scan a delicate dance of scientific exploration. Aria's console sparked suddenly. A cascade of information began to flow, not a threat, but an invitation. The structures were responding to human curiosity, revealing layers of complexity that had remained hidden for eons. "They're communicating," Aria said, her voice soft with amazement. "Not with words, with mathematical sequences, with energy patterns." The Galactic Concordance, watching from a distance, found themselves in uncharted territory. Humans weren't just exploring, they were engaging with technologies that had remained dormant for millennia, unlocking secrets that entire civilizations had failed to comprehend. Captain Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Keep exploring," she told her team. "We're just getting started." Outside the ship's viewports, the ancient structures continued their silent dance, waiting, watching, revealing their secrets to the most unexpected of explorers. Humanity had arrived in the restricted zone, and nothing would ever be the same again. The first wave of Concordance assault ships materialized like a constellation of crystalline predators. Their weapon systems represented millennia of refined combat technology, each vessel capable of reducing entire planetary systems to cosmic dust in moments. Chief Engineer Raj Patel's hands moved with surgical precision across the Curiosity's engineering console. "Shields at 62%, he called out, his voice calm despite the approaching storm. "Structural integrity is holding, but we're not designed for this level of combat." Most crews would have surrendered. The Curiosity's team saw a challenge. "Jack," Captain Zora Chen said, her voice steady, "plot an impossible course, something no standard navigation system would even attempt." Navigator Jack Rodriguez grinned. Impossible was his specialty. The ship's quantum navigation system began to do something unprecedented. Instead of trying to dodge or escape, it started to map the incoming weapon systems in real time. Each incoming energy pulse became a data point, each weapon signature a mathematical equation to be solved. Aria Kim's console erupted with a cascade of adaptive algorithms. "I'm converting our communication arrays into a defensive mechanism," she announced. Her fingers flew across holographic interfaces, reshaping the ship's entire technological ecosystem in real time. The first Concordance weapon strike should have obliterated the Curiosity. Instead, something extraordinary happened. The ship's hull began to shimmer, not with traditional energy shields, but with a complex interference pattern that seemed to exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. Incoming energy weapons found themselves redirected, their destructive potential transformed into something else entirely. Lieutenant Marcus Wong monitored the ship's quantum entanglement systems. "We're not just defending," he said, a note of wonder in his voice. "We're learning. Each attack is teaching us about their technology." Raj Patel's emergency systems began cannibalizing themselves, creating hybrid solutions that defied conventional engineering. A damaged communication array became a makeshift energy redirector. A partially destroyed sensor grid transformed into an adaptive camouflage system. "They're fighting a technological war," Captain Chen observed. "We're fighting something else entirely." The Curiosity moved through space like a living thing. Not a traditional warship, not even a traditional exploration vessel, something entirely new. Weapon systems that should have destroyed them found themselves redirected. Energy pulses meant to obliterate the ship were absorbed, analyzed, and transformed. The Concordance assault teams watched in growing disbelief as their most advanced weapons became nothing more than data points for human analysis. "Shields at 41%, Raj reported. "But we're gaining more than we're losing." Jack Rodriguez's navigation became a form of artistic expression. The ship moved not in straight lines, but in complex mathematical curves that seemed to bend the very fabric of space-time. Each movement was a calculated risk, each course correction a middle ground between scientific precision and pure human intuition. Aria's adaptive systems continued their impossible work. The ship was learning, evolving with each moment of conflict. What should have been a moment of destruction became a moment of unprecedented discovery. The Concordance assault fleet found themselves facing something they had never encountered. An enemy that didn't just survive, an enemy that transformed conflict into opportunity. Captain Chen watched the cosmic battlefield, a small smile playing on her lips. "Keep exploring," she said softly. "We're just getting started." Outside, the stars bore witness to humanity's most extraordinary moment of adaptation. The communication burst from the UNSS Curiosity was unlike anything the Galactic Concordance had ever encountered. It wasn't a message. It was a living, breathing tapestry of human experience. Maya Ortiz, the ship's lead communications specialist, stood at her console with an artist's precision and a scientist's methodology. Her hands moved like a conductor, orchestrating a symphony of information that defied traditional communication protocols. "We're not just sending a message," she explained to Captain Chen. "We're creating a cultural hologram." The transmission began with mathematics, pure, beautiful equations that spoke of human scientific understanding. But it didn't stop there. Layers of information began to unfold. Mathematical proofs merged with fragments of human art. Abstract paintings dissolved into musical compositions. Scientific diagrams intertwined with philosophical texts. It was a communication that was simultaneously a research paper, a work of art, and a philosophical treatise. Lieutenant Marcus Wong monitored the transmission's impact. The Concordance's communication networks began to react in ways no one could have predicted. Where they expected a straightforward information exchange, they found themselves confronting a multidimensional cultural ecosystem. "They're trying to filter our transmission," Marcus observed, his neural interface tracking the complex information pathways. "But our message is designed to be impossible to completely block." Each layer of the communication carried multiple meanings. A scientific diagram wasn't just a representation of data, it was an invitation to understand human creativity. A musical composition wasn't just sound, it was a mathematical exploration of harmony and chaos. Dr. Elena Rodriguez contributed linguistic analyses that transformed the transmission into a living language. Human concepts that had no direct translation in alien communication systems became bridges of understanding. Emotions, artistic expressions, scientific theories, all became part of a complex informational tapestry. The Concordance's attempts to contain the transmission failed spectacularly. Alien civilizations began receiving fragments of the broadcast. A research team might intercept a complex mathematical proof. An artistic collective would discover an unprecedented musical composition. A philosophical network would encounter a new way of understanding consciousness. Area Kim's technical modifications ensured the transmission was both robust and adaptive. Each receiving system would interpret the message slightly differently, creating a communication that was simultaneously universal and deeply personal. "We're not conquering," Captain Chen observed, watching the transmission's progress. "We're connecting." The broadcast carried the essence of human potential. It showed a species that didn't just explore the universe, a species that sought to understand it, to communicate with it, to become part of its vast, complex narrative. Scientific papers from various human disciplines danced with abstract art. Musical compositions created using quantum computing principles merged with philosophical texts about consciousness. Mathematical proofs became visual experiences that challenged traditional ways of perceiving information. Marcus tracked the transmission's progress. "It's spreading," he said, a note of wonder in his voice, "like a living network." The Concordants found their information control systems becoming increasingly fragmented. Where they expected a simple communication, they encountered a living, breathing representation of human potential. Maya Ortiz watched her console, a smile playing on her lips. "We're not just sending a message," she repeated. "We're showing them who we are." Outside the ship, the restricted zone seemed to pulse with newfound energy. Humanity had found a way to communicate that was uniquely, impossibly their own. The universe was listening. The restricted zone began to reveal its deepest secrets, layer by intricate layer. What had once appeared to be a simple collection of ancient structures transformed into something far more complex, a massive archaeological site that told a story of cosmic proportions. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic display that mapped the zone's internal structures, her breath catching in her throat. "This isn't just a technological graveyard," she announced to the bridge crew. "This is a complete civilization's memory bank." Captain Zura Chen approached the display, her strategic mind already processing the implications. The structures weren't random. They were a carefully constructed archive, a repository of knowledge that had waited millennia to be discovered. Lieutenant Marcus Wong's neural interface worked overtime, correlating data points that seemed impossible to connect. "The energy signatures suggest multiple layers of information storage," he reported. "Each geometric structure is like a living data crystal. They're not just storing information, they're processing it." Area Kim's engineering console began to pulse with unexpected energy. Quantum scanners picked up resonance patterns that defied conventional understanding of data preservation. "These aren't just records," she muttered. "They're a complete technological ecosystem." The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. A particular geometric structure, a crystalline form that seemed to breathe with internal light, began to respond to human scanning techniques. Where previous expeditions had seen an impenetrable barrier, the Curiosity's crew saw an invitation. Jack Rodriguez manipulated the ship's positioning with surgical precision. Each movement was calculated, each scan a delicate dance of scientific exploration. The structure responded, its internal geometry shifting in ways that suggested something more than simple mechanical response. "It's communicating," Dr. Rodriguez realized. "Not with language. With pure information flow." The archive told a story of a civilization that had achieved technological heights beyond current galactic understanding. But it was more than a simple historical record. Each layer revealed a complex narrative of scientific achievement, cultural evolution, and cosmic exploration. Marcus began to piece together the narrative. "They weren't destroyed," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "They transformed." Captain Chen watched her team work, understanding that they were standing at the precipice of the greatest scientific discovery in human history. The restricted zone was no longer a forbidden area. It was a gateway to understanding the universe itself. Area's modifications to the scanning equipment allowed them to penetrate deeper into the structure's information network. Quantum entanglement techniques created a bridge between human technology and the ancient archive's storage systems. "We're reading multiple layers of information," Area reported. "Historical records, scientific archives, cultural repositories. It's like finding an entire civilization's consciousness." The most shocking revelation came slowly. The civilization that created this archive hadn't been destroyed. They had chosen to preserve themselves in this massive information network, a collective consciousness that existed beyond traditional concepts of physical existence. Dr. Rodriguez tracked the information flow, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the implications. They found a way to transcend physical limitations, she explained. This entire zone is a living memory, a technological afterlife. Captain Chen understood the magnitude of the discovery. This wasn't just about scientific knowledge. This was about understanding the ultimate potential of intelligent life. Keep exploring, she told her team. We've only scratched the surface. Outside the ship, the ancient structures continued their silent dance, waiting, watching, ready to share their secrets with the most unexpected of explorers. Humanity had found something far greater than a restricted zone. They had found a doorway to understanding the universe itself. The Galactic Concordance launched their ultimate weapon, a dimensional suppression field designed to erase the UNSS Curiosity from existence. It was a technology so advanced, it could theoretically remove an entire vessel from multiple layers of reality simultaneously. Chief Engineer Raj Patel watched the incoming energy signature with a mix of scientific fascination and pure human determination. They're not just trying to destroy us, he called out. They're attempting to unwrite our entire existence. Captain Zura Chen stood perfectly still, her mind racing through potential responses. Most species would have seen certain destruction. She saw an opportunity. Area Kim's console erupted with a cascade of adaptive algorithms. The ship's systems began to do something unprecedented. Instead of defending against the attack, they started to analyze it. Each pulse of the dimensional suppression field became a data point, a piece of a complex technological puzzle. We're not just surviving, Area muttered, her fingers moving like a concert pianist across her holographic interface. We're learning. The curiosity began to change. It wasn't a simple defensive reaction. The ship was actively interfacing with the dimensional suppression field, breaking down its complex energy signatures and understanding its fundamental principles. Lieutenant Marcus Wong's neural interface worked overtime. He wasn't just tracking the incoming attack. He was mapping its entire dimensional structure. Mathematical models began to take shape, revealing the complex technology behind the Concordance's most advanced weapon. Jack Rodriguez's navigation became something beyond traditional piloting. The ship moved not in straight lines, but in complex quantum probability curves. Each movement was a calculated risk, each course correction a middle ground between scientific precision and pure human intuition. The dimensional suppression field should have erased the curiosity from existence. Instead, something extraordinary happened. The ship's hull began to shimmer with an impossible energy. Hybrid systems emerged, combining elements of the ancient Archives technology with human innovation. Shield generators became adaptive learning networks. Communication systems developed predictive capabilities that blurred the line between technology and consciousness. Dr. Elena Rodriguez tracked the transformation with scientific wonder. We're not just integrating their technology, she reported. We're creating something entirely new. Raj Patel's emergency systems began a radical transformation. Damaged components weren't just repaired. They were reimagined. A partially destroyed sensor grid became an advanced dimensional mapping system. A compromised communication array transformed into a complex information processing hub. They designed this weapon to eliminate us, Captain Chen observed, a small smile playing on her lips. Instead, they'd given us the greatest scientific opportunity in human history. The Curiosity was no longer just a ship. It had become a living testament to human potential, a technological organism that could adapt, learn, and transform in real time. Marcus's analysis showed something unprecedented. The ship was developing systems that went beyond current understanding of physics and technology. It wasn't just surviving the attack. It was absorbing and reimagining the very principles of the dimensional suppression field. Area's adaptive systems continued their impossible work. The Curiosity began to generate energy signatures that mimicked and then transcended the Concordance's most advanced technologies. What should have been a moment of destruction became a moment of unprecedented technological evolution. Jack Rodriguez guided the ship through impossible maneuvers, each movement a complex dance of quantum probability and human creativity. We're ready, Captain Chen announced, her voice calm and filled with determination. The Galactic Concordance watched in growing disbelief as the UNSS Curiosity transformed before their eyes, a living proof of humanity's most extraordinary potential. The universe held its breath. The final confrontation was not a battle. It was a negotiation that would rewrite the fundamental understanding of intelligent life in the galaxy. Representatives from the Galactic Concordance gathered in a massive crystalline chamber, their collective consciousness struggling to comprehend what had just occurred. The UNSS Curiosity sat at the center of the diplomatic space, no longer just a ship, but a living testament to human potential. Captain Zura Chen stepped forward, her presence filling the room with a quiet, unshakable confidence. Behind her stood her crew, each a representation of humanity's most extraordinary qualities. "We didn't come to conquer," she began, her voice clear and resolute. "We came to understand." Dr. Elena Rodriguez presented the scientific findings, a comprehensive analysis of the restricted zone that revealed layers of technological and cultural complexity beyond anything the Concordance had ever encountered. Her presentation was a masterpiece of communication, blending rigorous scientific data with a narrative that spoke to the universal quest for knowledge. Lieutenant Marcus Wong's neural interface projected holographic representations of their discoveries. Mathematical models danced in the air, showing how human analysis had unlocked secrets that had remained hidden for millennia. Each projection was a bridge between human understanding and the ancient technological ecosystem they had discovered. Area Kim demonstrated the hybrid technologies developed during their journey, systems that merged human creativity with the advanced technologies of the ancient archive. Each technological adaptation was a living proof of human potential for innovation. The Concordance representatives found themselves facing something entirely unexpected. Humans weren't just another species to be categorized or controlled. They were a transformative force of cosmic potential. Jack Rodriguez presented the navigational data, a complex representation of how human intuition and scientific precision could navigate the most challenging cosmic environments. His presentation showed not just a method of travel, but a philosophy of exploration. Raj Patil unveiled the engineering breakthroughs, technologies that could reshape entire planetary systems, developed not as weapons, but as tools of understanding and cooperation. Each innovation was a testament to human creativity. "We're offering a partnership," Captain Chen explained. "Not conquest, not submission, a true collaboration." The restricted zone, once a forbidden area of cosmic mystery, was now proposed as a joint research zone. Humans would not take. They would share. They would explore. They would understand. Maya Ortiz, the communications specialist, demonstrated the cultural transmission they had developed. It was more than a communication method. It was a way of understanding that transcended traditional linguistic and technological barriers. Art, science, philosophy, all merged into a living, breathing form of communication. The Concordance's collective consciousness began to shift. Humans were not a threat to be contained. They were a new variable in cosmic evolution, unpredictable, innovative, endlessly curious. "We don't want to replace your understanding," Dr. Rodriguez said softly. "We want to expand it." The negotiations continued, but the outcome was already clear. The restricted zone would become a collaborative research space. Human teams would work alongside Concordance scientists, each bringing their unique perspective to the exploration of the ancient technological archive. Captain Chen looked out at the gathered representatives, not with triumph, not with aggression, but with a genuine invitation to explore, to understand, to grow. Outside the diplomatic chamber, the ancient structures of the restricted zone seemed to pulse with new energy, waiting, watching, ready for a new chapter of cosmic exploration. Humanity had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same again.